Yeah, and the red. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, huge fan. Also, what influenced the scene in the car with the high school guy?
What influenced it? Well, really, it's like no scenes are like really. I like don't go into the writing going like, okay, I want to hit this and this and this and this. It's really like I just try to actually like listen and just feel as the story wants to naturally sort of go, and then when I arrive at places, try to treat them sensitively. But that scene in particular is probably the whole movie does try to do something, but that movie's sort of the highest stakes version of it, which is try to portray a type of moment that, when described after the fact, might not sound like a big deal. You can imagine her 6 months down the line telling that story, and someone going, "What do you mean he went in the back seat with you and he touched your arm and you said no and he stopped like nothing happened?" You know, but when you actually feel the truth of it with her in real time, the subjective truth of it is that people tell me often like, "I'm so glad that scene didn't go where I thought it was going to go." It doesn't have to go there though to be violent and emotionally violating, like truthfully, and that's a lot of what the movie is trying to dignify small experiences as way more significant than they can be described on paper. And that scene specifically is like, it does not need to be on paper criminal to be incredibly traumatizing and wrong, obviously. And yeah, it's interesting. It's a conversation that's changing like super rapidly, which is good, but at the time I was in 8th grade and at the time we were filming this, you know, like the educational system around it is ridiculous. You know, you learn a lot about like protection and nothing about like how to actually navigate a situation. You learn about anatomy and not about like what is actually going to go down, what needs to be said, what should be said out loud, and if it isn't, it can't proceed. It's really crazy. It's so retrograde to be teaching about condoms and not be doing actual like situational things. That's what's so terrifying about that scene to me, is that like she's just being confronted with new thing after new thing and being forced to like process it and react to it all in an instant. So, but in general, like that scene is the most intense or whatever, but we treated a lot of scenes that intensely. And I'm saying that sensitively, maybe not intense, but insensitively. Like the banana scene was not funny to me on the day. I knew it would play funny in front of a crowd, but like it's a 13-year-old doing a sexually suggestive thing on camera. Like that was a closed set. I had the crew like gather out the morning before and say like, this, like, I know you may think this is funny from the pages you're reading today. It is not funny. You are to make no jokes about what's about to happen out loud to her. You know, so the whole time we were very aware of like what we were doing. We were just trying to treat it sensitively and honestly. It's a credit to the actors for the honest, open, vulnerable work they do. Both of them in that car scene. Daniel especially. I think Daniel imbues that kid with a sensitivity you don't see often. You usually see the PSA version of that kid that's just a straight villain. And Daniel plays him as very sensitive and empathetic, and you understand that like, oh, it's also the sensitive kind boy that you don't expect, that is wielding his empathy against you and knowing exactly what you're worried about and what you're afraid of. And you know, and so that's incredibly brave and open of Daniel as an actor. It's that age to do that. So we have a couple more questions, I think.